That means that not 1 cent of municipal budget was put into this project because of people like you. I just hope that you'll keep on sending some dough in so we can get this place restored as well as it's going downstairs. Thanks a lot for giving me this time.
Thank you, Norma. I'm going to start this with a statement, and the statement is this: you don't have to change. You only have to be part of the conversation. You don't have to change. You only have to be part of the conversation. And I think that is a very telling piece of a wonderful poem which I cannot recite, but which really speaks to what Anne was alluding to earlier. This is a conversation, and each of us has a very unique position within that framework. And the purpose of today's meeting is to amalgamate and pull together the very best of those pieces through the leadership of the moderators and through the panelists, each of whom has distinguished themselves in a very particular way. But I am very, very excited that these initiatives have been reborn through Michael's efforts. I know that Maxine originally brought up the idea of economic vitality with libraries, and many of us kind of looked at her in a very amused way. But the message has gotten through because lots of times we do things in a way that is so natural and is so intuitive that when someone articulates it, it doesn't really make sense, and all of a sudden it does make sense. Peter Drucker's latest tome, which is only about 106 pages long, and I hope everyone has read it. If they haven't read it, I recommend it highly. Management Challenges for the 21st Century, articulates a lot of important management and philosophical and philological types of information. But probably the most important thing that I believe he brings forward is the fact and the concept that we have transcended from manufacturing into the information age. And he calls, or chooses to call, each of us knowledge workers. And in that particular statement, what he specifies is that an individual beginning their career will probably change it 4 or 5 times. And I know that Nancy has already changed her career. And I think that that I've done mine 5 times. I've been a library director in 5 different places. And I think that the truth of the matter is that as knowledge workers, as integrators, today more than ever before, the public library is the forum for the beginning of the 21st century. Because in closing, what I will say is this, is that the future is not with IBM. The future is not with Hewlett-Packard. The future is not with Apple. The future is with the young high school student who comes into the library and wants to use the internet. Because if we step back, in Hewlett-Packard's case, 50 years, we'll find 2 high school students who began in a public library. If we step back 15 years, we'll find 2 high school students who began in a public library. That's Apple Computer. If we step back 15 years, we'll see 2 high school students starting in a public library, Bill Gates. So what I'm telling you is that each of these individuals who have begun this wonderful revolution have all gained the knowledge that they needed from the public library. And that's why I'm so pleased to be a public librarian, to be a small piece of that big puzzle, but also to represent each and every one of you who are public librarians and all the librarians in the state, actually, I guess, for this next year. I celebrate this conversation you're going to have today. I hope that each of you will leave from this with an inspiration to go out and change a life. My wife spent an evening in a public shelter 2 weeks ago in Hartford, and she was stricken with the fact that there were small children living in shelters without homes and no one to read to them. So she has asked me, as one of the initiatives for this coming year, to challenge the public librarians in the state of Connecticut and all the librarians in the state of Connecticut to spend one early evening and go to a shelter and read to children who don't have books. So with that, I'll say thank you, congratulations on this wonderful conference today, and I hope it all comes out as well as I believe it will.
Thank you. At this point, I'd like to turn the proceedings over to
We're about to experience the library program and all the people who make it what it is. I'm Director Johnston, and I hope you find it as inspiring and as amazing as I do.